Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back from the ad break. You are still watching Prime Live. This evening, we are joined by Dr. Shaheda Omar, who is a clinical director of the Teddy Bear Foundation, which is a foundation that is dedicated to, promoting or supporting the safety and well-being of children. Now, today we will share her expertise on a very important topic that concerns all parents, teaching children about stranger danger and safeguarding them in our increasingly complex world. And we will be talking about how to teach them to engage in these critical conversations. Also, parents being able to have these important conversations with their little one and empower them. But without wasting any time, I think our guest is already joined us on Zoom and ready to have a discussion with us. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Shaheda. Jazakallah so much for joining us on Prime Life, and welcome.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Shukran dalilan for this opportunity.
Jazakallah so much. Now, what are some of the key strategies, for teaching young children about stranger danger without scaring them or, making them overly anxious?
So I think it's important that in the past, if we look at historically, we propagated the issue or scenario of stranger danger because often the danger was outside of the home environment and children were at risk when they were not within their home context. However, we've actually seen the tide turning, and the tide of trauma has certainly turned where the risk factors are not so much outside. There is the issue of stranger danger. However, we are finding that it has come closer to home. The risk factors where home is the place of hope and security, home is actually being the place where many children are violated and abused. So the focus of the conversation is not only on stranger danger, it's on general protection and caring and ensuring that when children feel in their gut, in their stomach, that things are not right, it's about speaking out, breaking that silence and engaging them, empowering them to speak up. So I think that's what I wanted to just bring to the attention of the viewers, that we cannot only focus on stranger danger. Unfortunately, the incidence and prevalence of people that are known and closely connected to the child is very high.
Most definitely. And how do you think parents can approach these conversations in a way that empowers children, so that they understand why they need to make informed decisions, without them feeling like, oh, I'm just following the rules that my parents are telling me, without understanding exactly what is the root cause?
So you earlier on, you raised something very important, that we don't want to instill unnecessary anxiety in children. We don't want to get them to feel the sense of panic and dread and, being hyper vigilant all the time. So it's important how parents approach their children. And the ideal time is when there's family time or routine activities. And what are the routine activities that one could utilize or optimize? Is usually during bathing routines, if they are little children, your toddlers, and with older children, when you're fetching them from school or when they arrive or when they are during homework time after they've completed their homework, or even after they've arrived from school, just to catch up on how the day was, what was the highlight, what was the low light, what made them feel uncomfortable, and then perhaps even with so after homework or during supper, after supper, when families are still a little bit together before rushing off to continue with other responsibilities or household chores. It's about engaging in a consistent, and I'm emphasizing consistent dialogue around safety. So with young children, you're going to speak to bodily autonomy, their body parts, the functions of each body part and the parts. And I want to emphasize once again, previously we spoke about the parts that are covered by a swimming costume are the parts that should not be touched by anybody. However, that rule is actually broader because we know that even the parts of a face, the ears, the neck could be cuddled, could be, embraced, and leaving a child feeling uncomfortable in knots. So it's not just about that the parts that are covered by the swimming costume, any body part that leaves one feeling a sense of discomfort. With children, you say, yucky, you don't feel good, you just feel like you want to run away. So we talk about bodily autonomy with younger children. With older children, of course, the conversation goes even more uh, intense. So with older children, with the advent of technology, a lot of children are engaging online, on the internet, and there's a lot of opportunities for your pedophiles, your predators, your child traffickers to get online and to use fake identities where they impersonate themselves as age mates, peers, somebody handsome, somebody beautiful, very attractive, luring these children and getting children to provide personal details, identifying information, and luring children into these nets where they find themselves then exposed not only to online exploitation or sexual exploitation, but also the potential risk of being trafficked. So those are the conversations that I appeal and urge parents to talk to children on a daily basis and use your routine times, your family time, your prayer time, your play time, but engage children. So if a toddler is in the bath, or you're washing the toddler down, changing, dressing them, talk about the parts of the body and play the what if game with the child. What if mommy pinched you here? Is it okay? What if mommy pulled your hair? So the child starts understanding what is acceptable, what is not acceptable, making a distinction between safe and unsafe touches. So for the caregiver, the primary caretaker, they need to demonstrate this. They need to rehearse, role play with the child so that the child is in a position not only to assimilate it, so internalize that, but also to respond appropriately and understanding and appreciating that he or she will receive the necessary support, that he or she will be believed if any disclosure or if anything is shared. So giving the child permission and opening that platform or the dialogue where the child will not feel afraid, will not feel, that he or she will be judged. So they would be quite open to receiving or reaching out for help. And I think this is where the challenge often lies, because children often feel that they will be blamed, shamed, and named. And predators know how to manipulate victims to say that it's your fault, and if you tell, there'll be threats, there's intimidation, there's coercion. And for a child, those threats are real, where they say, your family will come to harm, your mother will come to harm, your father will be injured, or you'll be taken away by welfare. So I think these are, there's a lot to say, but I'm just giving a broad overview of how to engage and to understand the dynamics where children are subjected to secrecy. So very important, never speak to keeping secrets. We always say, we distinguish between a good secret and a bad secret, where the child understands that a surprise birthday party or a surprise gift, that's a good secret. But when the bad secrets, where it leaves one feeling not nice inside, and where things have been done that the child is not allowed to tell somebody that is close or that the child can trust, that is definitely not acceptable. And these conversations need to be held regularly, not a once a week, but on a daily basis. And when there are, news bulletins or billboards, anything that one sees or catches one's eye, optimize that opportunity and say to the child, when you go to school, and have coded language as well, to say, even if Uncle John or Uncle Yusuf came to fetch you, but if we haven't given that instruction and Uncle Yusuf doesn't know the code for, to fetch you, you should not go with anybody. So I think it's not about instilling mistrust or distrust, but ensuring that children cannot be swayed or deceived in any way, because we see, if we look at the recent cases or incidences, we've seen stepfathers, we've seen biological parents who have harmed their children. And unfortunately, we have to caution children and alert them to the dangers and risks that are out there.
Jazakallah so much for sharing that with us. Now, what are some of the warning signs that parents can look out for in their children, if they suspect that their child has been approached by a stranger or has experienced an incident that made them feel unsafe?
So sometimes I think always look at things in context, never in isolation. So look at a cluster of symptoms, not a single symptom, and then reach a conclusion. The rule of thumb is to err on the side of caution. So we always see that if a child's behavior has suddenly changed, you see this dramatic change or a drastic change in the child's personality, a child who was bubbly, lively, who enjoyed playing, talking, enjoyed in daily activities, routine activities, and suddenly there's been this withdrawal where the child no longer partakes in those activities, the child no longer engages in dialogue or response. So there's isolation, there's withdrawal. There might be changes in the child's appetite where, food is a primary nurture and it's also a sense of power and control. So that, it affects the child. It's metaphoric of what's going on in the child's life, where the child will either stop eating or eat a lot. So these are things that one needs to look out for, but also if a child becomes suddenly weepy, easily weepy, or if the child is having outbursts of aggression, which was never present before. A child is bullying, or a child is sleeping a lot, or a child is not sleeping, or recurrent nightmares. So these are some of the red flags that one needs to be looking out for, and even looking at age inappropriate behavior. So when one sees a child who is demonstrating age inappropriate behavior, where the child is sexualizing his or her behavior, they're sexualizing their toys, objects, then those are definitely red flags, and definitely something that one needs to be aware of, and contact professionals who are more au fait and who could assist by evaluating and assessing the child to see that where is this behavior coming from? Has this child been exposed to it directly, indirectly? Is there a history of victimization? Has there been some compelling behavior where the child has been exposed to child sexual abuse material, or the child has been forced to engage in sexual acts that he had no power over? So I think these are just things that I want to bring to the viewer's attention.
And can you offer advice on how, parents can work with schools, daycares, and, other community organizations to create a comprehensive safety network for children?
Well, I think, it goes without saying, sine qua non, that every school, whether it's an ECD facility, private, registered, unregistered, every, every institution needs to have a safeguarding policy. And, those policies should not just be on paper. It needs to be implemented to ensure that children's safety is fostered at all times. And if we look at Section 28 of the Constitution, which speaks to the rights of children, the right to protection, the right to nutrition, the right to healthcare, the right to education, the right to safety. And I mean, so parents need to ensure, and as an oversight, to actually make sure that the schools or the institution their child is attending has this in place. If not, it is the right of the parent to request that something like that is put into place, or report them to the relevant authorities. But I think it's also important that it's the responsibility of any institution that is taking care of children to provide that. But parents also need to be aware that They have a right to inquire if the caretakers who are working with the children, whether they've been vetted on the sex offender register and the child protection register, the part B of the child protection register. The sex offender register speaks to the person having a conviction, meaning that that person was convicted and sentenced, so would be then on the sex offender register after a conviction. The part B of the child protection register would speak to the unsuitability of the individual to work with children. So again, parents, you have a right, and you need to, ensure that when you take your child to any institution, even an aftercare facility, that you inquire whether this has been done. If not, and if they, report it to social development, to Department of Education, but at the same time, you should be fully aware that your child can be removed from that facility, that you do not place your child at risk.
Mm. I mean, Doctor, as we wrap up our conversation today, could you leave us with, one key message or takeaway for parents when it comes to teaching their children about stranger danger?
Well, I think the most important thing for a parent to say to a child, no matter who hurt you, please come and tell me. I'm here to protect you. I will believe you and I will help you. The child needs to be given permission that it's okay to tell and that the child will receive help, because often it's a conversation one doesn't have with children, and children don't know how to tell. But if they are reassured, they will be more comfortable and more secure in breaking that silence and certainly reaching out for help.
Most definitely. I mean, Dr. Shaheda, this was such an insightful conversation, and Jazakallah so much, for shedding light into such a very important discussion. And I hope that if there's any parent, caretaker, or anyone that's watching right now, they are able to maneuver this topic and be able to protect their little ones and also teach them about the importance of safety. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. And I just want to say, spot it and stop it.
Jazakallah so much. Viewers at home, that was Dr. Shaheda Omar, who is the clinical director of the Teddy Bear Foundation. Without wasting any time, let's go to a quick break. We'll see you right after this.